Welcome to Tanakh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting live from Kingsland, Texas, USA, with another episode of TNT, Totally Not True, with Rabbi, the man Stuart Federow from the Big H, Houston, Texas. Welcome back, Rabbi. Always a pleasure.
Good to be back.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us again.
My pleasure.
All right. So good deal. So this ought to be kind of a fun little layout. Hey, Michael Arlen, good to see you out there. While we're in motion here, let me go ahead and do the deed of making sure our phone lines are open, and they are. 855-952-4253.
I'm still waiting for it to come up. I don't know why it doesn't come up.
Refresh your screen.
I have.
Hey, refresh it again, Rabbi. You're going to have to refresh it over and over again. All right, where's my titler at?
Over and over again.
Well, shoot. Let me see. I've got my phone number on here somewhere. My my sister's software stopped working. Well, I haven't had a chance to upload it, so I have a new thing that I'm using to put the phone number. But I forgot to put the phone number on there. I got the name and the email address. Let me add that in there real fast. So give me 1 second. I'll give you this for starters. And then I'll add the phone number and add that to it. So 855-952-4253. And that should get her done. Yeah, I just said get her done. There we go, right there. Well, it's actually only going to show you. That's okay. You don't need to have my name on there anyway. There we go. 855-952-4253 is the phone number. Raymond Reef, good to see you, brother. Karen, Valerie Myers, Unitarian, good to see you all again tonight. Laura?
Oh, cool.
Okay.
For some reason, the chat is to the right of the screen. That's great.
Is that good? That's what.
That's the way it used to be. Now it's back, and I like it that way.
I didn't know it had changed. It's always, on my side, it's always been the same, so that's good. That's good. All right, very good. Okay, so here's the deal. So you see the title, What is Your Most Challenging Christian Claim? Okay, that's going to be the central topic for tonight, but we need you guys to call in and tell us what those are so we can address them. We may
or put them in the chat.
Yeah, or put them in chat. We can, we'll keep them like this.
There are two ways to understand that too, you know. Challenging Christian claim, like it's hard to respond to, or it's what they challenge the Jews with. Right.
Yeah, either way, that's fine. Any side of that, any view, any angle you want to touch, that's perfectly fine. And that will be good. But we're gonna use y'all's comments to actually
in the chatters. Welcome. And number 20 on our list is TNT in the chatters.
There you go. All right, good. Raymond, so far so good, sir. Okay, very good. So hey, Frank the Tank, the man. Good to see you back, brother. All right, let's see. Okay, so that's going to be it. So we may keep this for a little while, this title, and just run with it for 3 or 4 weeks. And then if we find something massive that we need to talk about, we'll change the title for that. Just leave it open to Cullens for a while. I think that'd be fun to do. Let's see. So phone line is open. And so if anybody wants to call in just to say hi, there's a caller right there. Let's see if we can make sure the phone lines are working right. Just to be clear, for all you callers out there, I was having trouble with the phone lines with Rabbi Singer's shows for about 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and I still haven't figured them out yet. So as we talk, you may just have to tell us your question, and then go ahead and hang up and listen for your answer. Well, I got music playing in the background still. Let me kill that real fast. Good to know that's still... well, you might as well do it, Rabbi. Finger dance. All right, so you
can barely hear it. I can't hear.
That's okay. It was enough. All right, all right. Caller, you're live on the air. Please tell us your name. Where you're calling from.
Hello.
Hi, you are live on the air.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Hi. My name is Samantha from Ohio.
Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you. I would like some clarification, please. I was having a discussion with some Hindus, and they had some compelling arguments that Judaism got their start from Hinduism. Their text in the Bhavishya Purana predicted Moses and Judaism. Hindus also have the Star of David before Israel did for thousands of years and named it Shatkona, going on to say that Shatkona is another word for Shekinah glory in the Tanakh. Hindus don't have many gods. They only have and worship one God, which have many attributes. His name is Brahman, the creator. Another connection to Hinduism is the variation of the story of Abraham sacrificing his son Isaac in the Hindu story of King Harishchandra in the Atarya Brahmana. So the Bible story is not even original. Jews got that from the Hindus. So my question is that why the Jewish religion not even original? You took parts of Hinduism that you like and put your own spin on it. If you say that they are pagan, then why did you borrow from them?
Okay. All right.
That's it.
Okay, that's actually, I've never heard that claim before, but definitely have a few answers in mind, and I'd like to hear Rabbi's take on it as well. Thank you very much for calling in. That's a really great,
all right.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
How do I watch it?
Just go. Are you watching online right now? Are you watching on YouTube?
Oh, no, but I will plug in right now.
Actually, well, go ahead and do that now while I'm on let's stay on the phone for a minute. I want to make sure you get it because I don't want you to miss any part of the answer, okay? It's actually a live show right now, so you called it a good time. And so just go to youtube.com / and then Tanakh Talk, TENAKTALK. You should be able to find it.
Let's see. And what do I press?
If you see if you're on the Tanakh Talk page, you should see one of the videos that actually says live, and you should be able to click on that, and you'll be able to see where we're at. Do you see that yet?
So just type in Tanakh Talk.
In YouTube search, just type in Tanakh Talk, TENAKTALK, and hit search, and then my channel will pop up. Click on the channel, and then you'll see a video that actually shows it's live, and that'll be this one.
I think I see it.
Okay.
I'm on my phone, so bear with me.
Oh, sure. No problem at all. No problem at all. I'd rather you definitely watch it live since you called in live. That's great. That's a great question. So let me know when you see it there.
Let's see. I think I'm on here.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so go ahead and hang up now, and you can tune in for the answer. We'll get about 10-second lag in the video, okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay, you bet, Samantha. Thanks for your call. Okay, interesting.
Very interesting. Not the first time I've heard it.
Oh, really? Okay, so just you don't need anything I've got on my mind. I want to hear what you got to say.
Well, obviously, and she'll probably say, well, Christianity stole it from Hinduism as well. But when you talk to a Christian, they say exactly the same thing. There's only one God, and Jesus and the Holy Spirit are merely manifestations of that one God. Or they'll say that the Trinity is three persons in one. They'll make the same statement. However, if you go to any random church, Christian church of any denomination, 99% of everything that comes out of the mouth of the minister is going to be about Jesus. And if they happen to mention the Father, it's only because he's in relationship to the Son. They really don't talk about God in general, and they don't really talk about the Father except insofar as God as the Father of Jesus. So it's all more about Jesus than it is about anything else. Okay, that's one thing. Second of all, she was talking about how, Hinduism is the same thing, that there's only one God, Brahma, and everything else is in the manifestation of that one God. The problem with that, of course, is that if you ask any Hindu family, most of them will have their one, for lack of a better term, favorite God. And they don't say they're praying to Brahma. They will say they are praying to a particular manifestation of Brahma. When I was living in my first house here in Missouri City in the Houston suburbia, my kids were very good friends with one of the families, which was Hindu, and it was an amazing neighborhood. There were 23 homes and like 30 children, young families. Astros professional pitcher was one of our neighbors. Really a great place to be. But anyway, one day I came home and they were doing something out in the backyard, and I noticed that there was a painting on our neighbor's shirt, and it's hard to describe. It's like if you took a photograph of someone and intentionally made it out of focus. Okay, but you can see the form, of a person. And I asked the daughter, who is that? Who's that on your shirt? And she said, "Oh, it's our God." And she gave the name, which I don't even remember how she pronounced it, nor would I even try to pronounce it, even if I knew it. But they wouldn't have said this is an expression of Brahma. They're praying directly to that God. That one God is their, for lack of a better term, favorite of all the manifestations of Brahma. So they can claim all they wish that, well, it's all one God, but no differently than the Christian community. Trinity is only one God, and the same objections that Judaism would have about Christianity and the Trinity are the exact same objections we would have about Brahma and the thousands and thousands of expressions of Brahma. I doubt that the vast majority of Hindus pray to Brahma. I think they pray to one of the manifestations or gods to get to Brahma, or maybe they just pray directly to that one manifestation, and that's all they have to do. Either way, it's an extra step between them and Brahma, between a human and their God. Okay, so I definitely don't agree that they're any more monotheistic than Christianity, and for exactly the same reasons. Once you put a separation between humans and God, you're and each God having a different manifestation, different purpose, different effect, different knowledge, different ability, different will, different whatever. It's polytheism. It's not monotheism. Okay. She also spoke about how there are stories that are very similar between Judaism and Islam. Judaism and Hinduism. And all I can tell you about that is that what we have is God's direct revelation to the Jewish people. Our Bible, with its stories, let me use as an example the flood. Okay, other cultures, religions, countries, whatever you want to call them, Mesopotamia, had similar stories to ours. We know there was a flood. You go in certain areas and dig down deep enough, you get seashells. Okay, right. You get indications that there was a flood in certain areas. So, and I forgot what it is. Let me. But there's a verse which indicates that it doesn't necessarily cover the whole world. I can say, William, what's new in your world?
Right. That makes sense.
And that doesn't mean, what's going on in New England,
right?
Or United Kingdom, England, or Moscow. It's what your little world is. So your world can be flooded without the entire planet being flooded. But if you go to Genesis, I can't think where it is. Genesis 9. Come on. Nope. This may take a while. I can't remember.
You can.
I think it's 9:9, but let me.
Okay.
Can't remember numbers. Never good in math. Let's see. Definitely not. Okay. Maybe it's 8:9.
Well, one thing I was looking up, several thoughts I did have on the whole point was that just looking up, and you can't trust the internet for everything, but I just did a quick research to see when did the Hindu religion begin, and it's somewhere between 1500 and 2300. Well, it's kind of about the same time Judaism really started.
Exactly.
So saying I was here first, I was here first, but not really having any witnesses, it doesn't really matter. And then, you know what I mean? And then
I know exactly what you mean.
And then furthermore, on top of that, we know that the story of Job is older than any of the Torah. It's the oldest book there, and we don't really have a dating for that. So, and like you said, just because somebody has something like the Star of David, that doesn't mean they're using it right. Maybe they did get a revelation of God, but
well,
they
you've got
they
Buddhas,
didn't.
with the swastika all over it.
Mm-hmm.
These are geometric symbols. It's not really hard to make.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, two triangles fall over each other. You got a Star of David. So, geometric shapes are all the same shapes all over the world. Well, and we didn't even, that wasn't even our symbol of the Jewish people until maybe 800, 600 years ago.
Sure.
So
my further,
we didn't get it from Hinduism.
Right.
We got it from geometry.
Right. Well, my final thought on that would have been too that in the Midrash it teaches that Hashem had approached all the nations of the world to see who would take upon His commandments, and they all rejected it. Who knows? Maybe each one of them saw a piece of something and adopted to that of the Hebrew God, the Jewish God, but that doesn't prove anything. You know what I mean? So, and if in fact that is true, where Hashem did go to all the nations first, and then ended up with the Jewish people, then that would actually support her theory that maybe they did get something first, but it doesn't mean that's the one that God chose, and the one that He chose is the one that He flourished and He actually grew. So that's kind of my.
We have
God's
something. Revelation to the Jewish people, okay? And if she wants to say, we had it first, nanny, enjoy yourself. I don't really care. Right. All I know is that our Judaism is God's revelation explicitly to the Jewish people, okay? And as I said, the Mesopotamians had their flood story. We have our flood story. Our flood story reflects our theology, our belief system, our morals, our ethics, our values, as given to us by God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there was a flood. Well, okay, the fact that there are similar stories. This is our way of looking at the world. The ark was not a boat. The ark was a shoebox. Okay, mm-hmm. The story of what's his name in the Mesopotamian flood story had a guy who ran the rudder, what's it called, like the captain of the ship.
Right.
Okay. What's his name was the captain of the ship, but he had someone who ran the rudder. So in the Noah story, God is the captain of the ship, and it's not a ship; it's a shoebox floating on water. There's no reason to believe that it wasn't more of a shoebox than a ship, and that's because God becomes the captain.
Right.
So, okay, and it was 10:10. We've talked about this before. Okay. All those that go out of the ark shall go to all of the animals of the earth. Well, wait a minute. If all the animals of the earth were on the ark, how would they go to all of Chayat Ha'aretz?
Yes.
Lechol Chayat Ha'aretz. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, I remember you saying
so, if she wants to say that, we had it foist, okay, we had it first, whatever, okay, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Despite her thoughts, unless she's going to say that she's, some better form of Christianity
sure.
and the Trinity, because they have quite literally thousands of gods.
Right.
Or manifestations of Brahman, okay. By the way, can I show you something else? This is vitally important with this question.
Absolutely.
Okay. And it may take a while to find.
That's all right.
Okay. So we're talking probably around, let's see. Nope. Not far enough. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. So please, this is important. Put it up on the screen.
Okay.
It's Genesis chapter 25.
Okay, 1 second. Save that. Let me move this out of the way so I got a bunch of screen overlays. 1 second. Genesis, what is 25?
Genesis 25 to begin with.
Okay, let's go Genesis 25. Right. There, if I can count, right? Go. Come on. There you go. All right, there's 25. Let me put it on the screen here. Okay, Genesis 25.
She can claim similarities between the different religions, but where's the proof that Judaism got it from Hinduism?
Right.
Okay. Now let's take a look at Genesis chapter 25. Abraham took another wife, and her name was Keturah. She bore him Zimran and Yokshan and Medan and Midian and Yishbak and Shua. And Yokshan begot Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, Letushim, and Leumim. And the sons of Midian were Ephah and Epher, and Enoch and Abida and Eldaah. All these were the sons of Keturah. Listen carefully. And Abraham gave all that he possessed to Isaac. Verse 5. Abraham gave all that he possessed to Isaac.
Okay.
Verse 6. And to the sons of Abraham's concubines, Abraham gave gifts. Wait, what? If everything he possessed he gave to Isaac, what would he have had left to give to the sons of the concubines?
Right.
So let me ask you a question. If Abraham gave the material things he had to Isaac, what would he have had left to give to the sons of the concubines?
Sure. That's really interesting.
No, that's the question. What's the question? What's the answer?
Well, I mean, if he already gave everything to to Isaac.
Yes. What would he have had left to give to the concubine sons?
Well, if he gave everything to him, then nothing.
I disagree with you. I think there is not only the physical in the world, there's also the spiritual. So if he gave the physical, the possessions to Isaac, what he had left to give to Abraham's concubine sons, the gifts he gave
would be spiritual influence as well.
Okay, and what would those spiritual things have been?
Yeah.
Okay, what would they have been? What's a spiritual gift?
Attributes of the Creator.
Okay, so how we behave to other people. Right. What else is a spiritual gift?
Speaking in tongues? Just kidding.
No, but I think you may be joking.
Joking.
Because speaking in tongues is Christian.
Yeah.
Okay, more Pentecostal.
Right.
Okay, but spiritual gifts would be like prayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be attributes. I figured teaching him how to live as a spiritual person.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then. Oh no! Please keep it up.
Oh, okay, sure. You got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry about
this is very important.
I'm gonna scroll down to get caught up there. Okay.
And prepare to be shocked if you've never heard this before.
Okay.
We haven't talked about this in years.
Cool.
Literally.
Good show for it.
Okay, so
Samantha, once again, thank you for calling in. And
wait.
Rabbi, I'm just scrolling down a little bit. Sit tight. Remember, you're 10 seconds visually behind me.
I know, but you didn't have to touch it at all. Okay, fine. Wherever you put it, fine by me.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So to the sons of Abraham's concubines, Abraham gave gifts. I would argue that they are the spiritual gifts, praying, meditation, things like that. And he sent them away from his son Isaac while he, Abraham, was still alive, eastward to the land of the east. So it's doubling eastness, going to the east.
Okay.
Okay. What is the very far east from
Russia?
The promised land, from where Abraham would have been.
Russia? I don't know.
No, you're too far north. I'll give you a hint.
Oh.
It's where the religion of what we were just talking about.
Oh, interesting. How about that? Yep.
How about India?
Nice.
Okay. Now, if you know anything about India, okay. They have what they call a caste system. Okay, you are born into a caste. You don't leave that caste except by reincarnation into a different caste. So, What is the highest caste?
Don't know.
What's the highest caste of the Hinduism? What's it called?
I have no idea.
You know?
Nope, no clue.
Okay, what's the name of the god that they were just that she was talking about? That all other gods were manifestations of that one god.
I forgot.
Brahman.
Brahman. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, put an A in front of it.
Abraham. Oh, what? No way, dude. That's crazy, Abraham.
Yeah. I'd like for her to show me the proof.
That is interesting.
I'd like for her to show me the proof that Judaism got it from Hinduism. But
no kidding.
It kind of looks like proof to me and my way of looking at things,
Yeah,
that maybe they got it from us.
Yeah, and it was around the same time of creation. So.
And it was around the same time. Yes, wasn't it? So
that's pretty
Abraham
wild.
gave the gifts of prayer, and look at the similarity.
Nice.
Between Hindu prayer, which is meditative.
Yep.
Okay. Think of remember Hinduism. Start over. Remember that Buddhism developed out of Hinduism. The Gautama Buddha was born into a Hindu family. Okay, and then he created Buddhism out of Hinduism.
Nice.
Okay, so think of what we do. Think of how people in that part of the world pray. It's meditative, it's repetitive, it's a mantra. Well, you could argue the same thing for what we have in the Siddur too.
Can I take the scripture off the screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, all right. That was really definitely mind blowing. That is really like in deep. That was very in depth, very nice.
Yes.
So, and again, it kind of supports the theory that is mentioned in the oral law or in the midrash that Hashem did go to. Well, didn't. It's not the same story, but I mean, either way could have happened. God went to all the nations of the world, and the Jews.
What we have is God's revelation to us.
Yep.
So
Yep. Very cool. So awesome, great question. Okay, anybody else? Y'all call in 855-952-4253 with your questions, or put them in the chat and tag Tanakh Talk. And Larry Beck, thank you for helping moderate out there as well. As Andrea, I think I saw Andrea out here. Yep, she's in there tonight as well. So thank you for my moderators there. I actually thought I saw Julie and got like 4 or 5 moderators watching tonight. Thank you guys for that. I appreciate it. Oh, got a caller right now. Let me catch it before they hang up. Ooh, bam. Okay, caller, you're live on the air. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from. You're live on the air.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Do you have a question for us tonight?
Yes, sir. I had a question about Isaiah 53, something that I've been trying to dissect as far as, I've been reading it, and it mentions the suffering servant.
Real quickly,
I'm just trying to figure out who.
Do me a favor real fast. Tell me your name.
Yes. My name is Michael.
Michael, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Columbus, Ohio, my friend.
Oh, cool. 2 from Ohio tonight. So Michael from
sir.
Ohio. All right, very good. Okay, so Isaiah 53, the suffering servant.
Yes, sir. I've been reading that chapter like back and forth, and
there is so many good jewels. You're going to love the answers to this tonight. I said you're going to love the answers to this whole thing tonight.
Wait, what's this question?
Yes, sir. I just want the answer to who I'm kind of confused as to who that chapter is referring to.
Okay. Stay on the phone with me just for a second. So, Rabbi, did you hear his question?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, first thing I want you to do, write this down, and if you don't mind. So, write down Isaiah. There's way more than what I'm just going to tell you. This is just a tidbit. This is the tip of the iceberg. Isaiah 53, verse 9, and the second half of it, 53:9b. I'm going to call it B.
I guess mainly overall the entire chapter is who is
right.
And
we'll get to it.
And we'll get to that. It actually begins in Isaiah 52. But just for a quick reference, write down Isaiah 53:9b, which is the second half of it, and Zephaniah 3:13. Just write those down and push them aside, but don't look at them just yet, because I'm going to pass this on to Rabbi, and he's going to go with a full-blown explanation of this thing for you. You're going to love this, I promise.
Take the next hour for a full blown.
Well, let's do it then. Let's finish. We'll go an hour and a half tonight if we have to. Then.
Oh.
Let's do it. Okay, Michael from Ohio.
No, wait. Before he hangs up.
Don't hang up yet, Michael.
Yes, I'm with you.
Ask him what translation he's using.
First of all, can you hear the Rabbi speak, Michael?
Kind of. I apologize. I'm at my brother's house. And
it is not your fault. I've been having phone line problems for a while, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. So, what version are you reading from, by the way? Rabbi wants to know.
I'm reading from the King James version.
Okay, cool. King James. Very good.
Okay. Yes, then I have another question. I hate to keep asking you to relay.
Okay, one more second.
All right.
No, go ahead, Rabbi, with your question.
Okay. As you just said, okay, the passage regarding the servant of God that suffers because he's God's servant it actually begins in Isaiah 52. Okay. And my question is, I'd like to know his translation for the first sentence or phrase or whatever. of Isaiah 52:14.
Okay, yeah. So do you have your King James? Actually, I've got it right here, Rabbi. I'll pull it up.
Yeah. I mean, I can pull it up if you want. I can pull it up from my version and read what I'm seeing, and maybe you guys can kind of help.
Sure.
me.
Well, I'm just asking right now about this one verse.
Yeah, just 52:13. Isaiah 52. Isaiah 52:13. Just read that in the King James. Just that one verse.
52:13.
Yep.
Okay. Let me pull it up here.
Okay, awesome.
52:13. Behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled and be very high.
Okay.
Just as many were astonished at you.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay. If he can hear me, I hope he can hear me. Who was Isaiah
I can hear you
preaching to?
My friend. I hear you in the background a bit there.
Okay, he can hear you, but as long as we're quiet, he can hear you. Now, restate your statement, Rabbi.
Who was Isaiah preaching to?
No, that's what I don't know. That's what I'm trying to,
Wait,
grasp.
you don't know who he was preaching to? I didn't say preaching about. I said, who was he preaching to? If Isaiah was giving a speech, who were the listeners?
Okay, Rabbi, let's go ahead and let Michael hang up, and you can just tell us all this, because this is what he's confused about. I think he's stumbled on to just enough to realize there's something fishy going on here, and he wants to know the Jewish answer. Okay?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand.
You got it, Michael.
Who is chapter 53 talking about? Thank you, guys.
You bet,
Break
man.
it down to the audience.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, bye.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Okay.
Yeah, this is good. Rabbi, seriously, take as long as you need on this thing.
All right.
I've already eaten dinner, and I've got lots of energy, so if we need to go for a couple hours,
good.
if we need to go for a few hours, we can. All right, take it away.
All right. So my point is that Isaiah's audience, when Isaiah would be saying, quote, behold, my servant shall deal prudently, and shall be exalted and extolled and be very high. Of course, he was speaking in the Hebrew. But when he spoke, who were his listeners? Who would have written this down? Why would they have written it down? Okay, the answer is the Jews. He was talking to the people of Israel, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and those people who converted into the faith, and therefore as part of the nation. So, when he says, Isaiah 52, verse 14, many were astonished at you, we now know who he's talking about. He's talking about his audience. He's talking about the people of Israel, the Jewish people, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all those people who put their lot in with the Jewish community. It's answered right there. Many were astonished at you. The word is lecha, okay, in the Hebrew. To you. There's the answer. He's talking about the Jewish people. There's the proof. Isaiah 52:14, first A part of the verse. Many were astonished at you. Then it goes on to say his vision, his visage, his appearance, and he's still talking about the people of Israel in front of him. If you take a look at many verses in the Hebrew scriptures, it'll go from he to you, from you to he, back and forth, even in the same verse, which you have here. So there's your answer, who he was talking about, who the servant that suffers for God, the suffering servant, who is it? It's you, thee. Many were astonished at thee. You can't get clearer than that. It's a very simple, obvious statement based on the text itself.
Right. Okay, now
okay.
Now go into the rest of 53, because there's so many pieces that you brought out before.
Yes. We're not even close.
So start as already...
So let's go to 53 and take a look at the first verse. Okay. Isaiah 53:1.
Okay, I know you're waiting for me, aren't you? Hang on 1 second.
Well, I'm not even looking. I'm just waiting for you to tell me when to
Oh,
speak.
okay, gotcha. Hang on just a minute.
When to speak. Woof. Speak. Woof.
All right, let me give just 1 second. I pull up the screens again here.
You're going to be bouncing around.
Oh, better go easy on it, or you can do it. We don't have to have everything on screen. You can just go ahead and start reading. I mean,
all right. So, just real quick, okay. Who has believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the eternal revealed? Who did God reveal his arm in front of? That's the first verse of Isaiah 53. Our report, to whom is the arm of the eternal revealed? So our report, the report is coming from those to whom God revealed his arm. Isn't that what it says?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now take a look at Isaiah 52:10.
Okay. All right.
Because now we know who's speaking.
52:10. All right. Very good. The Lord has revealed.
The Lord has made bare his holy arm in the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. The salvation of our God is 700-800 years after Isaiah 52 was spoken, was written. What would that even mean? Okay, so the people who are doing the speaking in Isaiah 53 verse 1 and following are the people to whom God bared his holy arm, which you have answered in 52:10. The Eternal made bare his holy arm in the eyes of all the nations. So the people doing the speaking in Isaiah 53 and beyond are the rulers, actually, of the nations of the earth, the non-Jews, who are recognizing, oh my God, this is so weird. Who could believe this? Who's going to believe what we say? Would anybody in their right mind believe what we have witnessed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And remember, still the he that the nations of the earth, the kings of the rulers of the nations of the earth, the he that they are talking about is the Jewish people. We already proved that from Isaiah 52, verse 14. For he shall grow up before him as a tender planted as a root out of a dry ground. He has no form or comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. Okay? Have you ever taken a look at the Jewish people up until the very modern, really American period? The Jews, think Fiddler on the Roof. Think the Jews of Fiddler on the Roof.
Right.
Think the Jews of Morocco or Spain before they were kicked out by the good Christians. Okay, think of the Jews anywhere up until the modern period. They weren't wealthy. They didn't have beauty parlors to go to. Their dress was simple. Their lives were simple. They were trying to eke out a living like everybody else on planet Earth.
Right.
So when it says, no form of comeliness that we should see him, there's no beauty that we should desire him. And up until the modern period, when you had a real reversal, think of all the people coming out of the woodwork. Okay, just thousands upon thousands of people now who are saying, we do desire the Jewish people. We want to be part of the Jewish people. We're going to throw our lot in with the Jewish people because everything we learned up until now have been lies. Gee, now that sounds like a prophetic statement.
There you go.
Okay. And by the way, have you ever, seriously, ever seen any Christian picture, painting of Jesus where he's not a handsome guy?
Oh, no.
In whatever nation, culture, community, society, they're drawing a picture. Okay, you know, if they're in Africa, then Jesus is portrayed as being black, being African. If they're in Asia, Jesus is portrayed as being Asian. Okay, in the United States, Europe, he's portrayed as being what? Blonde and blue-eyed. Why?
Yep.
They're not portraying him as no form or comeliness, and we see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. To the contrary. You know, and if they were thinking rationally, they wouldn't make him the skinny little hippie type with long hair. He's a carpenter, he's a builder, he's a construction worker. That means he's, you know, muscular, not a skinny little hippie type from, you know, Haight-Ashbury, San Francisco.
Right.
Okay, so, all right. He was despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. You think that's talking about one person, one time in his life? He is despised and that's the Jewish people again, despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. This is our whole life. 2,000 years. Okay? So, beyond that, under the Greeks, under the Romans, under the Persians, who am I missing? Under the Ottoman Empire, okay, Nobody wants to be like us until the very modern period. Okay. Don't you love translations? I love translations. Okay. Especially, I mean, his choice was King James. Okay.
Right.
And surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows.
What verse you on?
4. This is 53:4.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Surely he has borne our griefs. What does that mean, to bear someone else's grief? If someone is grieving, they're low, they're tired, they're no energy, okay? If we carry someone else's sorrows, that means we are looking sorrowful, okay? Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. What does Christianity say? Christianity says that the Jewish people are smitten of God because we reject their Messiah, okay? They say we are afflicted. Why? We bear griefs and carry the sorrows of the Christian nation, what they did to us, which is explicit in the next verse if you translate properly. 53:5. He was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our sin, our iniquity. No, that's not what the text says. What the text says is he was wounded from our transgressions. This is verse 5. He was bruised from our sin. Now look, what does it mean? It means because of our transgression, he was wounded. Because of our sin, he was bruised. The Jews were wounded and bruised because of the sins of the people of the earth, the non-Jewish nations who are doing the speaking, as we have already established. Well, what does that mean? God forbid a million times, if I murder someone, I'm the one who has sinned. They died because I sinned. I'm the one who murdered them. They died because I sinned. That's what this is saying. And the nations of the earth are going to realize at the end of days that they've been wrong all this time, that the way they've been treating the Jews has been sinful, not demanded by their God, but rather a sin against the people of God. And the Jewish people have borne the sins committed against them by the Christians, by the rest of the world. Christians are not the only ones who've done that to us, by the way. But at any rate, the point is that we suffer because they sinned. And it's not he was wounded for our transgressions, it's he was wounded because of our transgressions, from our transgressions in the Hebrew. He was bruised from our iniquities. He was bruised because of our iniquities. That's the real meaning of this. Okay? I really don't want to... Okay. We like sheep have gone astray. Who's the we? It's the nations of the earth. This is being expressed by their leadership. We like sheep have gone astray and have turned everyone to his own way, and the Eternal has laid on him, that's the Jewish people, the sin of us all, because we suffered because they sinned. He, the Jewish people, were oppressed, afflicted, but he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before his shearers as dumb, so he opened not his mouth. How many times have people condemned the Jewish people for walking into the crematoria without protest, going where they were told and not immediately, grabbing their gun? Oh, wait, they didn't have guns. They believing the Nazis. Okay. How many times have people said, the Jews should have rebelled. They should have fought with every ounce of their strength. Well, guess what? How did we act? As a lamb to the slaughter, as sheep before the shearers, not saying a word. If this isn't a description of the Jewish people and the way we've been treated at the hands of good Christians and others throughout history, okay, let's say a good 3,000 years, then I don't know what else is. Okay? Taken from prison and from judgment, and who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. What does the land of the living refer to? The land of the living refers to the land of Israel. Land of the living doesn't mean, taken out of the land of the living doesn't mean he died. It means he was taken out of the promised land. For the transgression of my people, this is the kings of non-Jewish nations speaking, for the sins of my people, that's the non-Jewish nations, he, that's the Jews, were stricken. And boy, this one is a really good one. Isaiah 53:9. And again, we're using the man who calls phone translation. We're using the man who called us, we're using his translation. And he, that's the Jewish people, made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was there any deceit in his mouth. What violence did we do? What made us so terrible that we had to be thrown into gas chambers, that we had to be burned at the stake, that we had to be beaten up in the pogroms, that we had to be, tortured to death by the Inquisition? What did we, where was our violence that made us deserve this response? Okay, Christians say this is about their Jesus. Jesus went into the temple, did violence in the temple. According to John, he made his own scourge to beat people with. People who are supposed to be there, directed to be there by God. Go read Deuteronomy 14. Okay, if you live too far away, turn what you want to give to the temple, into money, go to the temple. But you're going there with money of a foreign nation. You therefore have to have, money changers selling sacrifices. And they'll say, but they were overcharging. Really? Prove it. Show it to me. Now, I can show you in Jewish writings that there were actually non-Jewish and Jewish police. They didn't call them police, but you know what I'm talking about. To make sure that everybody at the temple was, using the exact same weights and measures. They weren't cheating anybody. Okay, but what did we do to get all the violence against us? Jesus did violence, brought himself under the attention of Rome, and got killed for it. But more importantly, it says he made his grave with the wicked, and he was with the rich in his death. Wait a minute. His grave wasn't with the wicked. His grave was with the rich. It was Joseph of Arimathea, the rich man, who gave Jesus the grave that Joseph of Arimathea was going to be buried in. It was a rich man's grave. So he didn't make his grave with the wicked. He made his grave with the rich. And then it says, and with the rich in his death. Wait a minute. He wasn't with the rich in his death. He was with the wicked in his death. He was crucified between two thieves. Oops. When Christianity, the writers of the New Testament, invented out of nothing the stories about Jesus, they must have remembered this verse wrong. Because instead of the grave with the wicked, the grave was with the rich. Instead of being with the rich in his death, he was with the wicked in his death. Oops. Okay, and by the way, when it says he had done no violence, he's the hippie, okay, San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury area. No, he wasn't. Jesus was a very violent person. You know the story. Walking along and he's hungry and he sees a fig tree, but it wasn't even the season for figs.
He cursed it anyway.
And it dies.
Mm-hmm.
He's cursing. By the way, we pray Borei Pri Ha'etz, creator of the fruit of the tree. So if Jesus was actually God, then why didn't he just create the fruit of the tree? But rather, he shows his violent side by getting angry at the tree, cursing it, and it withers and dies. So far you've been with me, and do you lack anything to eat? Do you lack whatever? I can't remember the exact verse. And then he says, but those of you who don't have a sword, go out and buy one. That's not exactly what I would think would come from someone who had done no violence. The demons are in somebody. Can't remember the whole thing. And Jesus takes pigs that he doesn't even own, which is what we call stealing, puts the demons inside the pigs, and
Right.
then has the pigs go run into the ocean. That's like me stealing your car and destroying your car. Oh, but he was God. He owns everything anyway. Yeah, nice try. Okay, so Jesus was a very violent person. If he could force the demons out of the person into the pig, why can't he force them into death? Why can't he just say, boom, you're dead? Okay. Let's see. I'm drawing a blank, William. You can help me. There are other places where clearly Jesus is a violent person.
Right.
And I can't remember what they are, but you get the sense of what I'm talking about.
Right.
Okay. Yet where to go? You had to please the Lord to bruise him. He had put him to grief. Who is he? He had put him. Who's he who put him to grief? Okay. You know how often the Jews kind of like, wait a minute, in the Bible disobeyed God. God explicitly says that he grieved. Grieved, is that the word he used? I have to look it up later. Okay. At the behavior of human beings. The paragraph immediately preceding Noah coming on the scene in Genesis, God sees that the evil of humanity, and he grieves that he makes man. Or I can't remember how it's worded there. Okay, but the Jews also put God to little grief because we kept disobeying. Okay, and what does a parent do? A loving parent reprimands the child. Okay, when you shall make his soul an offering for sin. Wait a minute, I love these translations. It doesn't say when you make your soul an offering for sin. This is specifically, the word is asham. Okay, an asham sacrifice is a very specific sacrifice, which is where you don't know if you've done something wrong, but you think you might have. And by the way, if this is really about Jesus, how can he make an offering for a sin that Jesus committed if Jesus is God and therefore he can't sin? Then the next phrase is, he shall see his seed. Really? I'm sorry, I didn't know that Jesus had children. Oh, well, seed actually means disciples. No, it doesn't. If the word wasn't seed, zara, the word was actually ben, then you might get away with saying he meant disciples. But when it says seed, as in spermatozoa, okay, he's talking about progeny, children, descendants. Jesus had none, according to the New Testament. He shall prolong his days. Prolong his days? Jesus was dead and buried by the age of 33. That's not a living in old age. In the ancient world, we have this idea that people, most of the time died when they were 10 or something. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, if you could live past a certain age, you actually kept living a longer time. Kind of like now, by the way. It's like God really put the limit on life being about 120. Did you read about the guy who just died? He was 112.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. Okay, so he didn't get to see his seed, his progeny, his children. He didn't prolong his days. He died at a young age. Okay. He didn't make his soul an offering for sin. What he did was what's the word? The word there is an asham, and an asham is a very specific kind of offering, not a sin offering. If a person thinks they committed a sin, then they give an asham, only for very specific sins, by the way, not just any old sin. But if they find out that they actually did sin, then they go back and offer a different kind of sin. Different kind of sin. They offer a different kind of sacrifice. Okay, so verse 53:9, 53:10 are clearly can't be talking about Jesus. Okay, he shall see of the travail of his soul and shall be satisfied. Look, when the Jewish community looks back on our lives And we see that, yeah, we've made mistakes, but we've learned from them. And we're still here. And we still are in the covenant, the eternal covenant with the eternal God. Yeah, we can be satisfied with how well we've done. We're supposed to be a light to the nations. Do you have any idea how many Nobel Prizes have gone to Jews? 16%, and some say as high as 18% of every single Nobel Prize given in the world has gone to a Jew. So yeah, I think we should be satisfied that even though we have suffered for our serving of God, as in suffering servant, then yeah, we can be pretty well satisfied with how we've done in the world. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many. Wait a minute. Whose knowledge and who's being justified? By his knowledge, the he, remember, is always the Jewish people. We showed that already earlier with 52:14. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many. So wait a minute.
Not by his blood.
If the righteous servant is the Jewish people,
yep.
Maybe his here has to be somebody else. Okay? By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many. Now, the knowledge is of the righteous servant. By the knowledge of the Jewish people, we will justify many. Okay? For he, the Jewish people, will bear their iniquities. By the way, we didn't even do this. We didn't even talk about this. Do you know 9 times leading up to Isaiah 53, 9 times leading up to Isaiah 53, explicitly the Jewish people, either using the word Jacob, okay, or using the word Israel, are called the servant of God. Okay, give me a second, we'll go to one. Okay, by his knowledge, whose knowledge? The righteous servant's knowledge, shall many be justified. What does justify mean? What does the word justify mean?
Just as if I never did it, basically.
Right. And I'm not quite sure. Wait, give me 2 seconds. 53.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking at the Hebrew because the word justify there's.
What verse is that?
It is 11.
Oh, shoot. I got the wrong mouse here. All right, 53:11. Let's see. Vindicate is kind of a word that vindicate the just for many, and their iniquities would he bear. Is that the one?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can zoom in here.
I think the word is make righteous. When I hear the word justify, I think really Christianity. That justify is really...
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, by his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many. Well, let me see. If the Messiah is supposed to know the commandments and how we're supposed to behave, that's his knowledge. He tells us exactly what we're supposed to do, and we start doing it because, he's the Messiah. Then aren't we made righteous by the servant who told us the commandments?
I'm sorry. I thought my mic was on mute. Pardon me.
That's fine. For he shall bear their iniquities. Okay? Again, we suffer because they sinned. Okay? And then finally, therefore will I divide him a portion with the great. Wait a minute. How could that be Jesus? If Jesus is God and the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and they that dwell therein, if Jesus is God and therefore already owns the universe because he's God, what sense would it mean to say, therefore will I divide for him a portion? Why would God, why you can't give something to somebody they already own? And he shall divide the spoil with the strong. Wait, why would the Messiah, if Jesus is God, why is he dividing the spoil? Why does he already owns it. Because he's poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many, made intercession for the transgressors. Funny thing how the Jewish people seem to do exactly what Christians claim they do, and we forgive our oppressors. We move on. We don't moan and wail about, we're the victim, we're the victim, we're the victim. Okay, have a tendency not to make victims out of ourselves. We tend to think more about living life and moving on. You know how many people, when they finished, when the Holocaust was over, they got saved from the camps, within a year had children? You move on. Okay. So now I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go to Isaiah 45:10. Isaiah 43:10.
All right. Isaiah 43:10.
Yep. 43:10.
Okay. Let's just type it in here. It'll be easy to get there.
And by the way, this has really not been the best rendition of Isaiah 53.
Hey, that's okay. We still got more to go.
Off the top of my head instead of with notes and everything fancy.
We still haven't gotten to the Zephaniah part.
Oh, no, but we will.
Yeah.
Okay, this is over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, 9 times leading up to Isaiah 53. The text of Isaiah explicitly calls the Jewish people God's servant. But I want you to take a look at Isaiah 43:10 and look at what it says. You are my witnesses, saith the Eternal, and my servant whom I have chosen. Wait a
Singular
minute.
and plural in the same sentence.
Exactly. In the same clause of the same verse, you have witnesses, which is plural, and you have servant, which is singular. First of all, isn't it interesting that the word here used for the God's servant is singular, and it's the same word we have being described in Isaiah 53, the suffering servant.
Right.
So here, the word is witnesses, plural, but the word servant is really referring to all of those witnesses, even though the word servant is singular.
Right.
And when it says, you are my witnesses, again, same thing we discussed before. Isaiah 52:14. Okay? It's referring to the people of Israel because that's who Isaiah was speaking to in the first place. And look at Isaiah 43:11. I, even I, am the Eternal, and besides me there is no Savior. Oh, but Jesus was Lord. Yeah, well, Lord is a Lord and ladies from the Middle Ages, King James translation. It means master. It means God. I, even I, am the Eternal, because God is eternal. And besides the Eternal, there is no Savior. It's not talking about Jesus or part of a Trinity. It's talking about God. And besides God, there's no Savior. So guess what? Jesus ain't it. So what were you... what else did we miss? Because
Zephaniah.
I'm doing this off the top of my head.
That's okay. So this is going back for Michael.
Oh yeah, Zephaniah.
3:13. Zephaniah. Yep. So compared with Isaiah 53:9. Yep. So just for grins, I'm going to pull them up on side by side on the King James.
Oh, that'd be great.
Since that's the ones he was using there. So give me 1 second here. I got to pull them both up on both. I've got 2 different screens. 1 second. So Isaiah 53:9b, the second half, as well as the, let's see, what am I doing? Yeah, there we go, 53, scroll on down. All right, 53:9, all right, there's 9, and now let's go to Zephaniah. Pardon me.
Scrolling. Keep them verses scrolling. Tanakh.
Okay, here we go. 3:13. There we go. I'll put them literally side by side on the screen too, so you'll be easier to see them. Okay, here we go. I gotta make a screen adjustment in Wirecast. 1 moment. Okay, so let me fix this here.
Mm-hmm.
Un momento. Control. Oh, that's the wrong shot. Let me put it over here like this. There it is right there. Okay, now I gotta adjust it down so it'll fit. Okay, here we go. Coming up to you. You'll see it in about 10 seconds. Alright. So, 9. Okay, so this is Michael from Ohio. This is the part. I think it was Michael, right? Yeah.
I think so, yes.
53:9b, it says right here, it says, well, let's just read the whole thing. And he made his grave. Oh, this is another part you got to cover. He made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death. That's the opposite of what happened to Jesus, by the way.
Exactly. We spoke about that.
Right. And here it says, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit found in his mouth, or deceit in his mouth. And people say, well, Israel mocked and got in trouble all the time, whatever. But if you read this, Zephaniah specifically says, the remnant of Israel shall do no iniquity, nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth. It's specifically talking about the remnant of Israel. So, but going back, Rabbi, to the first part of that, and he made his grave with the wicked,
right,
and the rich in his death. Well, right. Everybody knows
the grave was with the rich, and he died with the thieves who were the wicked,
which is opposite of what this says.
Right. Yes.
So
we talked about that earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing. Very good. Okay, so there's that.
One more thing that we have to discuss.
Okay, sure.
Okay. All you have to do is just Google forbidden passage.
53.
And the Isaiah 53 will come up.
53.
Because
yeah.
How incredibly ignorant and how incredibly arrogant that they're telling us that we have a passage in the Bible we put together.
Right.
Remember something. It's the rabbis of the late. What's it called? The fancy religious studies name for that period of time. What's it called? It's the late Temple period.
Oh, I'm not really sure.
They're the ones who determine what would be in the Bible. What we call Bible,
the canon.
Okay. What we call Bible, what we call Tanakh, what we call Hebrew Scriptures. Okay.
Right.
The people who decided what would go in it were Jews.
Right. So it's the canon. Right.
Okay. The canon, the canonization of the Hebrew Scriptures.
Right.
What's the word? I can't think of the word for that.
Okay, there we go.
Late. I can't remember. Anyway, the point is that lost my train of thought. The idea that there would be any passage of our own Bible that would be considered, you can't read this. I mean, even if you just know the character of the Jewish people, even if you just know somebody, one person who's Jewish, if they're told they can't read something, they're going to go run off and read it. How stupid is it that any passage of the Bible that we Jews put together would be labeled as forbidden? Because once you label as forbidden, the first thing that's going to happen among the Jewish community is they're going to go run and read it. No part of the Hebrew Scriptures could ever be called forbidden, that Jews shouldn't read it. So anybody who tells you that this is forbidden to be read by Jews, better watch out, because they'll lie to you about other things as well. And they probably already have. So I think I covered basically everything I could remember.
Gotcha.
Right. But if you go to 9 places, it specifically says Israel is the servant of God. It explicitly talks about, witnesses being plural, and then it uses the word servant again to talk about those witnesses, plural. And by the way, there are other passages, like you were talking about in Zephaniah 3:13.
Right.
Okay, there are other passages in the Tanakh, in other prophets, that mirror exactly what Isaiah 53 says.
Right.
So, all right. So now let's go to the chat and see what people are saying.
All right. Very good. There was a question, since we did kind of expel all of this. Let me scroll up. There was a question I saw earlier that you might be able to run on.
Yeah.
I'll just read the question, Rabbi. So let me get your attention for a second.
Yes, Theophilus Sogoromo, we are definitely live.
Oh yeah, definitely live. Yeah.
It's alive.
So,
it's
Rabbi,
alive.
If I could get your attention for a second, I'll read one comment question here for you.
Okay.
Are you paying attention to me reading?
Yeah, I just wish I could. Whose name?
It's Man Bear Pig. They should have timestamps on these comments so I can say, hey, just look up to 12 minutes 18 seconds,
Right.
But they don't. It's unfortunate.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, it says it's a question for everybody. So 2 Kings 3, we have Moabite record of the war that matched Tanakh. Was Elisha wrong? How did Israel, Judah, Edom, how did they lose? Seems the child sacrificed to Hamash worked. So somebody trying to justify the idea that the human sacrifice would be.
I have no idea.
If you Man Bear Pig, if you want to use a better example, in my opinion, you could use King David's son who died because of a sin. Now that doesn't fix it, but it's a better example of what you're trying to do.
Give me the chapter and verse he was referring
to.
to.
Look at 2 Kings chapter 3. There's no verse listed, but you may be able to.
2 Kings chapter 3?
Yes, sir. But again, it doesn't justify human sacrifice, and I think that's what is trying to be.
Well, the issue, look.
Yep.
The issue is not sacrifice. People sacrifice. In a war, a soldier will throw their body on a hand grenade to sacrifice their lives to save the lives of others. That's not the issue. Okay? If I pollute, you've heard me say this before, if I pollute the world and the next generation breathes my pollution that I polluted the world with, and they die from it, they die because I sinned by polluting the world. The issue isn't the effect that somebody's behavior has on other people. The issue is, does that death take away the sin committed by, the guilt for the sin committed by someone else?
Not at all.
And that's the issue. The issue isn't, if the soldier jumps on a hand grenade and dies saving the lives of his friends, his buddies, he died to save them.
Right.
But his death doesn't take away their sin. God explicitly says repeatedly, okay, but the clear one is in Deuteronomy 24:16, every man shall be put to death for his own sin. Oh, but that has to do with a court. Really? Prove it. Show it to me. It doesn't say court. It says, ish bechet o yumatu. Chet, sin. Not crime, okay? Not court crime thing, go before a judge crime, okay? It's chet. Ish bechet o yumatu. Ish, a man, be, in or with, do, because of, from, chet, sin, chet o, his sin, because of his own sin, yumatu, will be put to death. You can't get it clearer than that. Go look it up in virtually any translation, unless they're spinning the translation, which they do frequently. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. So, what is it? Psalm. You can't. No man can give a ransom for someone else's life. Let's see. Ezekiel 18. No, Ezekiel 8. Okay. Well, actually, it's both. Ezekiel 8. It talks about, being forgiven when your enemy takes you to a land far away. All you'll have to do is face this place and pray and repent and stop doing the bad, and God will forgive you. So the idea of a blood sacrifice being necessary is not true. And then Ezekiel 18, where it says the wickedness of the wicked will be on the wicked. It doesn't say the wickedness of the wicked will be on the righteous.
Right.
The wickedness of the wicked is on the wicked.
Right.
Over and over and over again. Moses comes down from the mountain, and they're doing the golden calf, and he gets angry. And he says, I don't know what to do. Maybe I could atone for your sin. Moses goes up to God and says, write me out of the book. What book? We don't know what book.
Right.
We presume it's the book of life, which means kill me for their sin, but it could be the book of who gets a Snickers bar after dinner. But to be written out of the book means to be punished. Moses is saying, punish me for their sin.
Rabbi, Devin Coates said Psalm 49:7. I think
Thank you.
Might have been where you're going.
Thank you. 497. Okay. But now I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, we'll tell you this, Janice.
No, I forgot. I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. So, Rabbi, on just for future reference, this will be helpful not just for this show, but for all of them. That we refer back on chat. If you look on your chat window, Rabbi, top right.
Wait. Okay.
Look at the top right. There's 3 dots vertical. Do you see those?
Yes.
Click on it.
Okay.
Toggle timestamps.
Got it.
Turn it on.
Cool.
Now, if I got something I'll find, I'll tell you what time marker to go to.
Just remind me to hit that, and I will.
You got it.
Okay. All right. But I was saying something that was really important, and then...
yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
It's too bad. All right, whatever.
Okay.
All right. But thanks for Psalm 47.
Yeah, for sure.
49, I forgot already. All right. Anyway, whatever.
Let's see, because I'm just I'm scrolling to see chat here now to see where we're at. And remember, guys, when you do put in a chat, be sure to tag Tanakh Talk in there, or you can tag Stuart Federow, and we'll see it highlighted on our end, and I won't have to read everything. I can just simply scroll until I see a highlighted comment and go there. Okay, here's one for you right here, Rabbi. At 7:31 p.m.
Okay.
ERAP 10 said, here's a claim. If Jesus can't be both God and human, then why did God show up as the angel of the Lord, in parentheses, in human form, in the Old Testament?
Wait. Why do you insist that the angel is actually God?
Right, there we go. And so this is for ERAP 10. I hope I'm pronouncing that whole idea right. And so this is also a really great topic right here. So yeah.
Why does he assume that the angel is God? The angel is of God, from God. God sent the angel. That doesn't make the angel God. The angel speaks for God.
Yep.
Okay, you speak to the angel.
Now wasn't
the
presence of Hashem actually at the tent with Abraham?
Yeah, but that wasn't the angel.
That's not. Yeah, I know. That's my point. There was three men.
Never said the angel of God was God.
There was three angels disguised as men that appeared, but God was already there. He was already in the story. So these 3 had to be. None of them could have been God to begin with. So it definitely wasn't Jesus in the flesh, if you want to call it that. That's kind of the point.
Right. And Boaz, Isaiah 53 does not seem like Jesus at all. I don't know why people are confused. It's because they don't read carefully. They know, for example, 9, we've talked about it a lot, 53:9. They know that Jesus died on a crucifixion. They know he was buried, so they don't even think about the idea that he's buried in a rich man's tomb instead of being buried with the wicked. And they don't realize it. It's like it got to be clopped over the head before they realize what they're reading. They don't read carefully, and they read mistranslations, as we have seen. So,
Okay, Rabbi, go to 8:15 p.m.
And it was that late.
Look for no. I'm saying go to the comment by Mel Lundy.
Wait.
At
7:44. 7. Whoa, a lot of comments.
Yeah.
Okay. 7. Whoa.
8:15.
I'm at 8:05. 8:06. All right.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to pull that verse up. Mel Lundy.
16.
8:15 Mel Lundy says, in discussion with someone that is showing God had a body in the Tanakh, they're using Exodus 24:10-11 under his feet, and they saw the God of Israel and ate and drank with him. Please explain.
When you speak to people, you have to speak the language they understand. Okay, when it says that God is walking in the Garden of Eden in the cool of the day, does that mean God has toes? I mean, if you want it to be about Jesus, I'm sure you'd prefer to interpret it that way, but you're taking it literally. We don't take it literally. You want to take it literally? Take it literally. You'll be wrong, but when God says in Numbers 23:19, "For I am God and not a man," no, I'm sorry, that's Hosea 11:9. In Numbers 23:19, it says, "If God were a man, he'd be a liar." Well, you want to say that shows that God was a man? Okay, fine. So he's a liar. Numbers 23:19. Look it up.
Bruce, so you don't need it on screen. You want it on screen or no?
It is a. It's a. First of all, it's a vision, if I remember correctly. It doesn't say they actually saw him. I think they had a vision, but I'd have to. What was it again? What was the verses? Still there? Uh-oh. Are we off the air?
I'm here. I'm here. My wife just brought me dinner, so.
I thought you already had dinner.
I had a snack earlier. I just didn't want you to feel bad.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Hang your britches on telephone wire. Yep,
okay.
I know.
What?
So what are you looking for, Rabbi? Sorry.
Where he's talking about feet touching something.
Oh, that was what he brought up was Exodus 24:10.
Exodus 24:10.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, wait a minute.
See it?
Wait, give me a second.
I'm going to pull up to Torah.
Look, if you want to, contrary to other parts of the Hebrew Scriptures, put a spin on this and interpret it to mean that God had a body, okay. But it contradicts other places in the Bible where it specifically says that God is a spirit, God is spiritual, and has no body. If you want to see it as being a person, God says, well, if God were a man, then he'd be a liar. So, look, any verse at all in the Hebrew Scriptures can be interpreted by anybody in any way they wish. And all you can say is, this is my opinion of what this verse means. And somebody else can agree with you, which means that's his opinion and nothing more. And another person can disagree with you, which only means that's his opinion and nothing more.
And
if you have an opinion, an interpretation of a verse, even if you have people agree with you, even if you people disagree with that, but if I can show you a verse whose simple, obvious, literal, as written meaning contradicts your interpretation, then I'm going to reject your interpretation. And if God says, "For I am God and not a man," in Hosea 11:9, if God writes in Numbers 23:19, if God were a man, he'd be a liar. All men lie, so if God becomes a man, like all other men, he'd be a liar too. So, whatever. All right. Let's see.
My point I was going to bring out was,
right.
If you read any book that talks about something, and you find something mentioned 50 times, and 40 of those times it's very clear on what it talks about, but 10 of those times there's something vague, you tend to lean to the thing that is super, super clear about as your final decision. Majority rules.
Exactly.
And in this case, there's only a few examples where, well, there are more than just a few, but the majority rules on this is, there's no, God doesn't have fingers and toes. So.
And there's a live stream coming up on Myth Vision Podcast. What is Myth Vision Podcast? What is that?
Not sure. There is another question that popped up, though, if you're interested.
Yeah, sure. What?
Okay. Mel says, thank you, by the way. I'll read the rest of that in just a moment. Okay, so at 8 minutes and 22 seconds.
8 minutes. And this is really cool. You can do it this way.
Yeah, thanks for more right there. Appreciate that.
4, 24, 24, 24, 23.
I'll just read it. Rabbi Mizrahi says the earth is 6,000 years old according to the Torah. Science says the pyramids and their society is 8,000 to 10,000 years old. Who is Adam, the first man?
And my answer is, as human beings evolved into human beings, as the entity, the animal, the creature, whatever you want to call us, evolved into Homo sapien, which is the genus, species, whatever it's called, the scientific term of human beings, that first person I can call Adam.
Right.
You know,
yep.
The Hebrew Scriptures is God's revelation to the Jews. God gave us this revelation. This is the basis of our faith, our belief, and it comes from God who established it. And as such, this is what we accept. If other people have a different interpretation, view, whatever, okay, go ahead. You know, no skin off of our nose. See, the implication is they're right, we're wrong. But from our perspective, we're right, they're wrong. Are we supposed to go, oh, you're right, oh, therefore you're just totally right, and abandon what we've known for 4,000 years, 3,700 to however you want to multiply it out? Okay? No, we're not going to do that. This is God's revelation to us. This is what we believe. We don't care what you believe. Mm-hmm. You can believe whatever you want. You can interpret any verse the way you want to. But if I have a verse that contradicts your interpretation, I'm going to reject your interpretation as unbiblical. And a dying, saving man God has far more in common with the religion and the mythology of the Greco-Roman world than it has in common with anything in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew Scriptures. And the ideas behind that, the foundation upon which, the foundation you have to believe in order to believe that Jesus was a dying, saving man God, contradicts the Bible. No man can die for your sin. Every man was put to death for his own sin. So the dying, saving part goes out the window. The man God, if God were a man, it'd be a liar. 23:19 of Numbers. That goes out the window. And everything else is spin and interpretation, and go right ahead and interpret any way you want to. But the most basic elements of Christian theology are unbiblical at its nature and have more in common with the pagan idolatry of the Greco-Roman world than with anything that's going to be in our Tanakh, right, or in our religion, or with God.
Okay, Majobri says Christians claim that the Jewish law is not in effect anymore. How to reply to them since they don't even need to fulfill the Jewish commandments? Well, my first go-to would be Matthew chapter 5, I believe it is, and Jesus himself said that until heaven and earth pass away, not one jot or one tittle will in no means pass away from the law until everything has been fulfilled. And so, if you look outside and still see earth, there's your sign. You can't see heaven, but you can see earth. It says, until heaven and earth pass, not a one jot or one tittle.
Last time I looked, they're both here.
Yeah.
See.
And that's just one of many places, by the way. Even Paul, in his speaking out of both sides of his mouth, in Romans 2:13, I think he said, in fact, I forgot what it said. I just know that's a key verse. Let me look at it. Romans 2:13 said something about the law. Let me see here. My memory is fading on the New Testament. Where the hell
what was it in? What are you talking about?
Romans 2:13.
Romans?
Yeah, Romans 2:13. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but only the doers of the law will be justified. Paul said that. Now, like I said, he speaks out of both sides of his mouth. But
doing the law.
Yeah.
But there's something you're missing, or there's not you're missing, but we're going to talk about.
Sure.
Okay, when Jesus was speaking, he was speaking to the Jews. Okay, when things first began in the earliest gospel stories, okay, Jesus is going explicitly to the Jews. I have come only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. By the end of his stories, okay, the Jews are a lost cause, and now he says, go to every nation of the earth. Well, what word would Jesus have used, both in the Aramaic or in the Hebrew, whichever one he spoke, for the word nations? What word means nations in Hebrew or Aramaic?
Ger or goy. I'm sorry.
What is it?
Is it goyim?
Goy.
Oh, yeah.
But by the time Jesus was speaking, really at the first destruction of the temple, 586 BCE, goyim also already had the connotation of only the non-Jewish nations. Mm-hmm. So when Jesus... he's done with the Jews, okay? First he says, go only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. When he's a gross failure, then at the end, then he's saying things like, go to all nations, all of the goyim, all the non-Jewish peoples of the earth, and convert them. So the idea that Jesus is telling non-Jews to do Jewish law, it's not for non-Jews. And God spoke to Moses and said, speak to who? Whom? Whom do they speak to? And God spoke to Moses and said, speak to the children of Israel and command them to do X, Y, Z. Non-Jews were never included in the commandments in the Hebrew scriptures. They're only commanded to do the 7 laws of Noah, which are categories. And look that up. I'm not getting into that now.
Sure.
Okay, and I don't feel comfortable. It's not my study. It's not my interest of research. Okay, maybe 20 years ago. Oh my God, more than that. So, like 30 years ago. Wow. Okay, I'm feeling my age. But Jesus was only concerned about the Jews. At the end, when he realized that the Jews were busy obeying God's commandments like Numbers 23:19 or Deuteronomy 24:16, he gave up on the Jews and says, now go to the nations and baptize them. Well, go to the non-Jews. He was done with the Jews. But that doesn't mean they were commanded by God to do what? Keep kosher? Keep Shabbat? Keep Passover? As a matter of fact, let's go look at that. Okay? So, come on. Okay, so let's see. Exodus and 12 and Exodus 12, and the Eternal spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you. To who? Who was he speaking to? The Jewish people, not the non-Jews. This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak you to all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month you shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. Okay, it says, speak to the congregation of Israel. Let's see. Oh, we didn't. So let's go to Exodus 20. Okay. The 10 Commandments. And God spoke all these words, saying, I am the eternal your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. When were Christians ever taken out of the house of bondage? Oh, I know. Grafted in. And where is being grafted in part of the Hebrew scriptures? That's a Christian thing. We don't accept that. But God is saying, I'm talking to the people, the nation, the community, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Jacob's 12 children, and those who convert to their religion, become part of their nation. I'm talking to the people who I took out of the land of Egypt. Okay. Let's go past the Hebrew scripture. Let's go past the 10 Commandments. Let's see. Next. These are all continuation of the generic stuff. Every time God gives commandments, he usually begins it with, and God spoke to Moses and said, speak to the children of Israel and command them to whatever. So the whole idea of Christians being commanded, it's not in there, except in their mind when they think in terms of grafted in. By the way, there are no less than 53 verses, 53, 52, 51, more than 50 verses that talk about how God is God and humans are human, and God does not become human and human doesn't become God, and God is indivisible and unique.
Right.
So, sound like you're ready to get off.
No, one of my favorite thoughts on that same thing, Jesus is referred to, and we discussed this a lot, but it sounds like Michael from Ohio may have been tuning in for the first time. The one where it says, I think in the Psalms, it says, do not put your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man,
or in the Son of Man,
in whom there is no hope. And Jesus is referred to as the Son of Man over 80 times in the New Testament. Right. And so, interesting enough. I'm just reading some of the chat to see if there's any more questions. There was something else actually I got to bring up. 1 second, Rabbi. Okay, here we go. This is something that you probably deal with before because of your location, Rabbi, and especially around the Passover and stuff like that. Pardon me. What is the best way to fight the mixed multitude, the Erev Rav, and missionizing in the Jewish communities, in your opinion?
I have no idea what you just said, because if you said what I think you said, I have fundamental disagreements with the interpretation.
Okay, gotcha.
So say who are you quoting? Were you quoting somebody?
Yeah, it says, what is the best way to fight the Erev Rav?
What's the time?
Oh, 8:31, Art Scroll Chumash.
Wait a minute.
8:31.
8:30.
It's right after Larry Beck's comment.
Wait a minute. 8:31. Let's see.
Got the purple A circle with the purple. I mean, the purple circle with the A in the middle of it.
Okay. Ask Rabbi, what is the best way to fight Erev Rav and missionizing in Jewish communities? I'm sorry, but I don't think the Erev Rav are Christians missionizing in Jewish communities. The Erev Rav were the group that joined themselves to the people of Israel and basically converted to Judaism and went along with the ex-Hebrew slaves when they were freed from Egypt. So I'm not quite sure I agree with calling the missionaries to the Jewish people Erev Rav. Okay, but be that as it may, okay, number one, first and foremost, the way to fight the missionaries is to learn every single thing you can on how to respond to Christian missionaries.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Number one, first and foremost, okay? Okay. Ow. See that? I don't know if you can see that.
Yes, we can see it clearly. Let's Get Biblical,
okay.
2-volume book.
That's number one,
great
first
resource.
and foremost. Thank you. Let's Get Biblical, the 2-volume work. I think it's actually been very recently edited and expanded.
Yeah.
But I can't remember when he did that. But and all.
Show us your book real fast, because I like yours as well. My wife likes yours, Rabbi.
Here are the 2 volumes. Okay.
Right.
This is a 2-volume set. Okay. This is volume 1. Looks like this. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep. Just fine.
Okay. So that's number 1. I mean, this is minimal. Okay. Number 2, in my opinion, because I am a big egomaniac. Okay.
That was my request, by the way.
This. Okay. Pardon me for doing this. This is egomaniac. I apologize. But my book, because I wrote it, okay, the English is Judaism and Christianity, a contrast. Judaism and Christianity, a contrast. And the Spanish translation, Judaísmo y Cristianismo un contraste. I can't pronounce it very well. I apologize
That's okay.
for butchering the Spanish.
Good deal.
But number 2 is my book. In my opinion, I know that's horrible.
No,
but
I would agree. I would agree.
Okay. All right.
Number 3.
And because number 3, get on the internet.
Let's go with another book, Leaving Jesus by James Wood Jr.
Oh, wait. You're too quick. Hold it.
Yep.
Now, what did I do with it? I may have lent it out.
I actually lent mine out as well. But just look up Leaving Jesus by James Wood Jr. That's another good one.
Where's my book?
And also, you can go to Rabbi Federow's website, whatjewsbelieve.org, and there's hyperlink, quick link topics to everything. Quick links to all the major topics. Just remember whatjewsbelieve.org. That's Art Scroll Chumash, and you'll find some massive resources there as well. So,
okay, I don't know what I did with my Leaving Jesus.
It's okay.
Well, at any rate, get onto Amazon and read anything you can by Gerald Siegel. I don't know if you can you see that?
Yeah, lower the book down. What does it say? Why Jews don't believe in Jesus. Oh,
this
cool.
This is called The Jewish Response to Missionary Christianity.
Oh, nice.
Okay, Why Jews Don't Believe in Jesus. It is the best text. Okay, it's 1 volume. It's the first in the 1960s, when the actual Jews for Jesus started their big push, their I'll be nice, their stuff, okay, there were 2 books that came out. One was by Levine. It was called You Take Jesus, I'll Take God. It was okay for its time, and it was the only thing out there for a good while.
Right.
Then Gerald Siegel wrote a book, and I don't have the original, okay, called The Jewish Response to Christianity. I can't remember it anymore. Okay, but this is his rewrite of it, his editing, his new. It's really new version.
Okay.
Okay, and most counter-missionary literature will overlap with other person's missionary literature. We have a tendency to say the same thing. So, missionary Christianity.
Yep.
Get on the internet. Go to Jews for Judaism. Michael Skobac. David. Wait a minute.
David
Blumenthal. He was bad with names. If you go to JewsforJudaism.ca, which is Canada.
Yep.
And if you really, whatever, JewsforJudaism.org.com.
You're talking about OutreachJudaism.
OutreachJudaism is where you get this from.
Yep.
Okay, is where you get the Let's Get Biblical stuff. My point is that absolutely every available piece of literature out there that you can read and learn how to respond to Christian missionaries, learn it. Know it even better than I, because tonight I was basing everything off of memory. Okay? And I'm sure I missed half the stuff I should have talked about. But learn it as best you can. And then, when you hear somebody missionizing, go talk to them. Be nice, be kind, be welcoming, and show that their arguments have no weight. Discuss it with them calmly. Don't call them names. Don't merely say, oh, you're just a fool. Actually say, you're saying X, Y, Z, and here's why you're wrong, because in the Bible it says A, B, C. But learn how to do that. Learn everything you can about how to respond to Christian missionaries so that when you are confronted with a missionary, you know what to say. Look, I don't know about other congregations, but every so often we get somebody coming to my services and they'll stand up in the middle of services, sometimes trying to take over my pulpit, and they'll try to preach to us about their Jesus on a Friday night or Saturday morning. It's happened.
Right.
Probably half a dozen times. Not that often, but it does happen. Mm-hmm. You got to know what to say back to them.
Yep.
You can't just say, "Oh, well, Jesus didn't fulfill all the prophecies." Well, that's true, but all they're going to say is he'll come back for second coming. So what you have to discuss is the theology. Okay, the things you're going to learn in this.
Right.
Okay. Ultimately, to me, my way of thinking, it's the theology, the belief system. Can Jesus die for your sin? No. Deuteronomy 24:16. Could God become a man? Well, can, but God says he's not gonna.
Right.
Because if I were a man, I'd be a liar. Okay. Yep. Put not your trust in princes or in the Son of Man, in whom there is no, whatever the word is, no hope. No, I forgot what it says.
Yep. In whom there's no hope, right?
No, thank you. So, are we born in sin? That's a misreading of Adam and Eve. We don't believe in original sin. The idea of original sin isn't in the book of Genesis. Let's see. Is the devil someone who used to be an angel in heaven and fights against God over human souls? Well, if the devil is in the God of the earth, as it says in 2 Corinthians 4:4, I believe, well, then you got two gods. I'm not even talking Trinity, just God and devil. You got two gods, and that's not monotheism. You have the way to fight those missionizing in Jewish communities, Art Scroll Chumash, is know how to respond. Da Mala Hashiv. know how to respond to them. So when they come, you know what to say to them.
Right. Yep. Well, Rabbi.
Wait. 48:15. Hold it a minute.
Okay. You're buying me some time. I'm looking up a verse anyway. While you're looking that up, Deuteronomy 4:12. Lord spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the sound of the words, but you saw no images, or no image, just a voice. And Deuteronomy 6, I believe, goes into even greater detail, telling you he did not make anything of mankind or womankind either. Is that 6 right there?
Well, I'm not sure what you're referring to. So
yeah, I'll find it here.
48:15. 48:15. 48:15. 48:15. And he blessed Joseph and said, God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the God which fed me all my life long unto this day, the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads. And let my name be named on them in the name of my fathers Abraham. I don't see it must be the veil before my mind. Because I don't see this problem. And he blessed Joseph and said, God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the God which fed me all my life long unto this day, the angel who redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads. Why? I don't understand why. So you're saying God is also an angel? Because it remember something. When Abraham almost sacrifices his son Isaac, from the moment he lifts his knife, God never speaks to Abraham directly again. So angel of God lists all these blessings. I don't see why that necessitates what you're saying it necessitates. Let my name be named on them in the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into multitude the midst of the earth. I don't get his point.
Okay. All right, here's the here you go. This is it right here. So Deuteronomy 4:12. I'm going to read this part for you real fast.
Okay.
The Lord spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the sound of words, but you saw no images, just a voice. And then it says a couple things about keeping the covenant. And verse 16 says, 15 says, and you shall watch yourselves very well, for you did not see any image on the day that the Lord spoke to you at Horeb from the midst of the fire, lest you become corrupt and make for yourself a graven image, the representation of any form, the likeness of male or female. And that's exactly what Jesus is. And God calls that corrupt, according to Deuteronomy.
By the way, you want to see something interesting about that? Okay. Take a look at verse 19, since you got it there.
Okay. Unless you lift up your eyes to heaven and see the sun,
when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, should be driven to worship them and serve them, which the eternal your God has given to all the nations under the whole heaven. God gave them their idolatry. They can have it. It's theirs, not you. You're Jews. You've got God.
So
you don't need this idolatry crap.
Right. So is it wrong for Christians to serve Jesus? No, because they're not Jews. They're not siding with the Hebrew God, the God of the Hebrew Scriptures. They are following their own. They're following a different God.
They can worship whoever they want to, but if they start telling the Jews that He's our God, He's our Messiah, I'm going to have a problem with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, but I don't care who they worship. And it says, if they look up and they see the sun, the moon, and the stars, and the hosts of heaven should be driven to worship them and serve them, which the eternal your God has given unto all nations under the whole heaven. They can have it. It's theirs. God gave it to them, but not the Jews. They can't do that. You've got God, not the pagan idolatry.
Right.
The pagans can have the idolatry. Okay? The idolaters can have the idolatry, not the Jews.
Right on.
So, and by the way, I'd really rather worship the real God than the fake God. If they want to go ahead and worship fake God, have fun.
Yep.
Okay? But if they're really interested in serving God, come to us. Convert. Become Jews.
Yes, sir. Very good. Well, Rabbi, let's call that a wrap. That was a good show.
Okay. A wrap?
Yep. Well, since you're dancing, you might as well dance to the tune that everybody likes to see you dancing to. There you go, folks. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel and click on all notifications so you get every notification that comes through the internet. So, guys, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you on the other side. Take care, everybody. Peace.
אתם תמיד כולם ביחד, חשוב מכל חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד. איפוק זו העוצמה, ויתור זו הגדולה, השאיפה והכמיהה.